right, viewers, let's go across to the Board of Peace inaugural meeting where U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff is addressing the forum.
When we first started envisioning a Board of Peace, but of course under the President's indispensable leadership, and it begins with that. It begins with President Trump's leadership and his direction. We are here today, and it's pretty amazing. I think we have some people to thank. We had an amazing partnership between the mediating countries, Qatar, Egypt, Turkey, Prime Minister Mohammed. You are an exceptional human being. You really are. Ali, thank you for everything you did. That's you right over there, Ali. Wherever Hakan is, Hakan, you were amazing. And so was Ibrahim and President Erdogan, and of course, to the Egyptians, Badr, I know you're smiling because we went through so much. And General Hassan was amazing. We all became friends here. And Prime Minister Sisi, President Sisi, pardon me, and so many others. But our team, JD, your insight, your counsel, and Marco, you're an amazing secretary, and it's a privilege to work for you. And Jared, you are my dear friend and the best partner I ever had. You are an amazing person. But Mr. President, it is my greatest honor to work for you. It is the blessing in my life. I've had many blessings. I don't have to be a practicing lawyer anymore, but this is my greatest blessing. But I also have to mention one other person who is important to this discussion. Oh, the Israelis, I forgot. Prime Minister Netanyahu. Without him, much wouldn't have been accomplished as well. And that's really important that we acknowledge him here today, and Ron Dermer. But a person who doesn't care much about the acclaim, we have to acknowledge too, and that's you, Susie. Because I would come back and you would say to me on every trip, what can I do for you? This matters. And you are an inspiration for all of us. So I thank everybody, and let me get on to, am I going on to the next slide?
Sure.
Caroline?
Sure.
Okay. So with regard to the hostages, we're here today, again, I say it, I know it sounds redundant, but we're here today because of President Trump. Without him, none of this was possible. There were 251 hostages. 168 came out alive. 83 bodies were returned to their families so that they could grieve and remember their loved ones.
All right, let's go across to Saul Satka, political commentator from Tel Aviv, joining me in this discussion. Saul, thanks very much for joining me. First of all, only $5 billion have been announced when the UN itself has said that Gaza's reconstruction needs $70 billion. Now, even as these $5 billion go, how can it be ensured that each of this penny is used in making hospitals and schools and homes for the people of Gaza?
Well, first of all, there's no prospect at all that any of this money will be transferred in the near future, because the current situation there is that Hamas retains control over the entire population. And until that ends, it will not continue. The money will not go through, except to provide basic food aid. In such a case, there's no prospect of any of that money getting through to the people, so the money will not be transferred. So the first stage is that Hamas will have to completely disarm themselves, as they have long promised to do. But as yet, there is no prospect of that happening. So in that case, $5 billion is certainly more than enough, because none of it can get sent.
As far as the fund is concerned, who do you think is going to be auditing and managing this amount? Is there going to be an independent oversight committee, or is it fair for the member states to be overseeing this?
You would assume that all the people that have contributed the money would each be appointing someone to some variety of oversight committee. The details of that are not being released. These things, particularly when Trump is involved, tend to be rather opaque, and I'm sure this will be no exception. We can see with the situation with the Venezuelan oil that the money has been sent to Qatar, simply to ensure that the various people who would like to sue against Venezuelan oil wealth are not able to do so. If it was brought to the United States, it would be, and one might expect a similar thing would happen here.
All right, Saul, thanks very much for joining me in this discussion. Viewers, we are now going to proceed. Now, Queen Camilla